How's it going, everyone? Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name's Swanee, and today we're talking about something that most Battlefield players completely overlook, and that's stealth combat. Now, when you ask someone how you're supposed to play Battlefield, most people will probably say the same thing, and that's to stick with your squad, revive your teammates, drop ammo, spot enemies, and play the objective. And yeah, that's all super important to Battlefield's core gameplay, but I'd argue that the lone stealth player is just as important, and maybe even more important. I can't tell you how many times I've been in a match of Conquest, Rush, or Breakthrough where both teams were at a complete stalemate and neither side could push the opposing team back. Then, out of nowhere, one stealth player slips behind enemy lines, spawns in their entire squad, pulls off an insane flank, and flips the entire match. And then once the defending team realizes that they're losing the objective, they panic, they start falling back, and then that's when the attackers can push through the front line and suddenly take control. So the focus of today's video is for those of you that want to play that role as the lone wolf, the stealth player, sneaking behind the enemy, and being the sole reason that your team was able to get the upper hand. And before we get into the tips, all I ask is that if you enjoyed today's video and it was able to help you out, then hit that thumbs up button because it helps me out in the algorithm, and then consider sharing this video with your friends so that your whole squad can learn the ins and outs of Battlefield 6. And if you haven't yet, I recommend checking out my previous video as well because I go over a ton of Battlefield 6 tips and tricks that most people probably didn't know about. So with that said, let's go ahead and jump right into the stealth tips. The first tip might sound self-explanatory, but I see a lot of people making this mistake all the time, and it's to choose an outfit that actually blends into the environment or is just harder to see in the shadows. In a fast-paced game like this where you can die in literally half of a second, every millisecond helps when it comes to reaction time. And if you're wearing an outfit that is just slightly harder to see, that might be all the time you need to catch your enemy off guard. I know it sounds silly that I have to explain what camouflage is, but the amount of people I see running around in the snow outfit or the bright neon green outfit is kind of insane. I know we live in a time where games like to sell $20 cosmetics and people like to stand out from the crowd and look cool, but if you're on a desert map and decide to wear an all-white snow outfit, you might as well just paint a huge target on your back that screams, "Shoot me." So when you're trying to be stealthy, either go with an all-black outfit if you got the special edition of the game, or just wear some of the default armor that blends in with whatever the environment is that you're playing on. Trust me, you will die way less if you're wearing an outfit that blends in versus an outfit that's bright neon green. Another stealth tip is that crouching and going prone is going to be the key to your survival. When I'm trying to sneak behind enemy lines, I pretty much stay crouched at all times, and there's a few reasons for this. Moving around while crouched is a great way to remain hidden from your enemy's line of sight. Your enemy is always going to be scanning their environment for any kind of movement, and if you're crouched down, moving behind cover, it's going to be a lot harder for the enemy to see you at a quick glance. Being crouched or prone will also keep you hidden from enemy equipment like the motion sensor or claymores. There's been a few times now where I was sneaking around and I would have walked right into a claymore, but because I was already crouching when I went into the room, I didn't set it off. And with how often people have their eyes glued to their minimaps, hiding from motion sensors gives you a huge advantage when you're sneaking around. Just put yourself in your opponent's position. Say you're camping in a building and you're watching down the street. You place a motion sensor at the door just in case someone tries to flank you from behind. Well, you're probably keeping an eye on that sensor to get a heads up if someone's coming. Well, if someone is crouching around, they aren't going to set off that motion sensor, and in this case, the stealthy player is going to win. And if you didn't know about crouch sprinting, it's kind of a game changer. All you have to do is start sprinting and then press the crouch button mid-sprint. This will allow you to move around a lot faster while still staying low and remaining hidden from the enemy minimap. Once I started crouch sprinting, it completely changed how I played Battlefield 6 in general. Even when I'm not trying to be stealthy per se, I will still crouch sprint pretty much everywhere I go to avoid getting my head popped. And once I started doing this on the regular, my KD improved by a lot. Next up, I want to talk about suppressed weapons and stealth mechanics. And to do that, let me explain how the marking system works. So if you shoot your weapon, you will show up on the minimap and you will briefly be marked with a dot above your head for about a half a second for each round that you shoot. Then, if you have a flash hider attachment on your weapon, you'll still show up on the minimap to enemies, but you'll no longer have that dot above your head. And then if you have a suppressor equipped to your weapon, you won't have the dot above your head, and you'll be hidden from the minimap outside of 15 meters. Anything inside of 15 meters and the enemy is going to know you're there if they're paying attention to their map. So keep in mind that if you're trying to be stealthy or trying to flank on the enemy, you can pull off a great flank, but if any of them are paying attention to their minimap, they're definitely going to see you if you're up close and personal. Another cool thing about the suppressed weapons is that they also will not set off the motion sensors if you're shooting within the radius. So if you're sneaking into enemy territory, be sure to go slowly, remain crouched, and use those suppressors to stay off of the enemy's minimaps. Next up, let's talk about the classes. If you're trying to be stealthy, the Assault class and the Recon class are your best bets. The Recon class has the Spec Ops training path, which will give you the low profile perk, where going prone will clear you from being spotted faster, and it reduces how long you remain spotted by 33%. You can also spot enemy gadgets, and it reduces the sound that you make when you're crouched or prone. So if someone has really good headphones, they're not going to hear you coming. It also has the Recon drone, which can help you mark your enemies and will help you plan your next course of action when you're sneaking around. And the Recon class has the throwing knives that will silently take out enemies in one hit if you land a headshot. The second option for stealth is the Assault class. With their frontliner training, you'll get quicker recovery with 50% faster health regeneration, which is pretty useful for when you need to get into a fight. The Assault class also has the deploy beacon now, since they took it away from the Recon class, and the deploy beacon is very important if you're trying to get the upper hand against the enemy. I'll normally sneak into the enemy area, I'll set down my deploy beacon, and then my squad and I will attack the objective from behind and catch the enemy off guard, which will then let the main force of the attack push forward, and then we can take the objective. The Assault class also has the flashbang and the stun grenades, and those will not show up on the radar when you use them. So both the Assault and Recon classes are well equipped for stealth gameplay. And now that I've given you some tips and tricks on how to be better with your stealth gameplay, let's put it to practice and I'll show you an example of me using it in an actual match. Alright, so we're going to put everything into action now. Looks like I joined a breakthrough match that was, looks like it's already been going on for a few minutes. But I'm going to try to sneak behind the enemy and cause some disruption. So we're going to try to probably go over around in this area. So I'm going to set my ping over here so I know where to go. And I'm going to try to put down a respawn beacon over behind them. That way, me and my squad can start to respawn behind them and then hit them from two sides. Kind of confuse them a little bit. So there's a bunch of these little like side rooms. So here's a perfect spot for my beacon. Close the door behind me. And now we should be able to kind of sneak through here. Nice. Good.
Let's go.
Oh, God. The guy was respawning people right in front of me. Okay, so that's... Yeah, now we're starting to push from this side. Throw down another respawn beacon. Yeah, my whole squad started to spawn over here. Okay. We caused just enough chaos to start a bit of a push for my squad. Oh, wow, he killed me in one hit with the revolver. Oh, we do have a teammate in the objective. Oh, that was an awful spawn. Oh, here we go. We can hide the beacon in this coffee shop, which is right beside the objective. Not a big deal. If I die, I can just get right back into the fight. Oh, I wish I had an extended mag. Okay, I think we're in a pretty decent spot. Let's push the bus. There we go. That ladder helped. And just like that, we took the sector. Nice. So, this is a pretty good example of stealth helping out, pushing the objective. Like, I got a pretty good flank on those guys. Oh, they finally got me. Although my teammates might be able to save me. I'm 20-3 right now, so, like... stealth is really, really useful. You just gotta, you know, practice it a little bit. Once you get an idea of, like, what causes you to show up on the minimap, and once you learn the layouts of the map and you know the lanes and you know where people are going to look, it really helps with, like, you being able to hide from the enemy.